Right, so Christian Verity here, hosting Verity Fitness Podcast. Today we've got a special guest, a good friend of mine, someone that we've worked together over many years, Alan Fitton here, as known as Coachedbyalan on the social media platforms. So yeah, today we're just having a catch up with Alan, just want to have a chat with him. Obviously, I know a lot of these questions that I'm going to be asking him, but basically want to start off of what got you into doing what you're doing in the fitness industry. Because Alan is obviously online personal trainer now, helping people to basically lose body fat, increase muscle, and just have a better, healthier lifestyle. So Alan, leave it to you.
Hello. Well, thank you for the introduction, Christian. Very much appreciate for having me on your podcast. It's most appreciated, young man. So obviously what got me into what I do now, massive amount of weight that I lost. I spent a lot of my life being very much obese, very much overweight, not having any sense of direction or understanding to the reasons why I was like that. And through losing 7 stone myself, got me into fitness and into a new lease of life, really. I think I kind of spent a lot of my life in the little black hole, not knowing the reasons why I was there. But then when I started to drop the weight and be fitter, be healthier, kind of re-motivated and energized me for life, and gave me a new positive outlook on life, and pushed me in the direction that I'm, doing for a job today, which is, as Christian said, I buy myself more as kind of like a health and wellness coach now, I think, if anything, specifically working on, as Christian said, weight loss, fat loss, giving people a sustainable routine to be fit and healthy and to make results and make them last forever.
That's it, yeah, definitely. I think most trainers out there, unless they're very specific on what they're doing, I think most personal trainers, online trainers will always look about how can clients do build muscle, burn body fat. That's always, when we work together in gyms, that's always been the main focus with people, unless they've got a specific goal, if they're running for 5K, 10K or anything like that. I think that's what most people want, really. Yeah. I think obviously we've always worked on the basis to put a plan together for clients to help them achieve the results and just give people guidance, because obviously there's a lot of information out there and a lot of good information, but also a lot of bad information. I feel like people are just trying to set up things of having a particular way of doing it. There is a way of doing it, like we know, by putting a plan together that's suitable for that client or that person that's doing it, to help them achieve them goals as they go forward. If it is, which we tend to find in it, is fat loss or muscle building and stuff like that.
It is. I think you just hit the nail on the head there. I think everyone has individual and different needs, don't they? And it's kind of giving them the backbone and the plan to go, this is what fits in your lifestyle and your routine. This is what's going to benefit you. Yeah. Let's get on that and, make your results, I think, most importantly.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, like I was saying to a client I've just been training before, talking about these things, if there was one plan that fitted all, that'd be fantastic, but there's not. Yeah. Everyone's totally different, and it's just trying to unlock the potential for people. I find with definitely doing my indoor house personal training with people that they come in very keen at first, want to train about 4 times a week, and not necessarily doing 4 times a week might be right for that person. Because what I want people to do when I'm specifically training them is always say to them, like, you need to try and commit to something that you can commit to. Because like you would know, the best way to get results for clients is finding something that will work for them. So even if it's just turning up to the gym twice a week or doing some type of program twice a week, improving health habits and stuff like that, they're the basic principles about doing it. It's not about doing anything dramatic, any kind of fad that you get out there, or just do this for 6 weeks. It's got to be something like I've seen you talk about plenty of times. It's lifestyle changes. Yeah, it's got to be something that you can bring into your lifestyle and you can maintain and stick to. So like I say, if someone comes and wants to train 4 times a week, I personally would only put them on a 2-session plan to start with and then grow it from there. Because then if you set the goals too high, if you're not achieving 4 times a week, you start feel like you're going backwards and you're doubting yourself and that. And, because you never know what's around the corner in life. We all have busy lifestyles. these days and going forward.
Yeah, massively.
So obviously we've probably preached the same type of methods anyway, but what methods that you do with your training, when you're training clients online, what are you looking about trying to help them, and why your methods feel like would work for them going forward?
Yeah. So I think as you said, I think we sing from the same hymn sheet. I think, if I'm honest, I think sustainability is key. And I say to a lot of my clients what you just said. A lot of clients jump in the door and they're like, "Oh, I'd like to train 4 or 5 days a week." And I'll say to them straight away, I'm like, "Well, that's good, but let's start from the ground up. Let's start twice a week, because it's a lot easier to add into a program than what it is to take away." I'd always like to start as well, exactly the same as you, as what you taught me to an extent, obviously, because we used to work together for a long period of time, didn't we? Starting from the ground up, starting from minimal, and then as we understand the purpose of training and the commitment, and as we're able to add more into it, we add more into it over time. My coaching style is very much about sustainability. You know, what can we do in essence in the least amount of time possible, you know, because a lot of people have, you know, high level commitments, working a full-time job, having a family, a big social life, and then to add in, you know, starting to do 3 or 4 hours exercise on top of that, on top of doing daily steps, on top of like logging the calories on the phone, on top of doing weekly check-ins, can seem very scary at first. So very much about building from the ground up, and coaching in daily habits, lifestyles, and routines that can benefit the client, as in working on the small things, like looking at, you know, how much servings of fruit are we eating a day? How many hours of sleep are we getting in? How much water are we drinking? How much are we moving? Can we increase step counts? And doing those small principles first and building on that over time is very much what I'm about. Not so interested, my personal demographic of clientele, not so interested in people that want to do like competitions or anything like that. That demographic really more so in about, you know, weight loss, creating healthy habits and routines that are most importantly sustainable. And so when we reach said goal, we can maintain said goal for the rest of their lives. You know, it's not a short-term fix, is it? As you said before, it's not about fad diets or fad training plans. It's about having something that is sustainable and that can keep to forever, you know, gaining knowledge and education along the way.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why I like people like yourself that got onto online personal training. And I think it's a good platform for people to get into it, because sometimes you just need that accountability. You need someone to put a plan together, someone that can work with that individual, someone that sometimes we all need a kick up the backside and a bit of guidance going through it. And I think that's what you get from an online trainer personally, because I think sometimes for a lot of people, the hardest thing is just making that change, making that commitment, and they just need to make that lifestyle. And at first, like we talk about, like when we used to work together, we used to try and, with the software we used at the time, to get people to use like MyFitnessPal, or I was using my PT Hub at the gym, where we get people to monitor what they eat. And at first, that's all just to give them a bit of a guidance at first when they get into it, is basically having an understanding of how many calories they're bringing in. Are they bringing in too much or too little? Because sometimes too little can have a bit of a reverse reaction, because what you're happening, you're not eating enough through the week on certain days and you're overeating. So when you look at it over a period of time, you're actually on a surplus without actually feeling like you are on a surplus. Because how many times we sit down with a client, how you eat? I'm eating really, really well, and we measure them. And we'll put them on the scales and actually put a bit of weight on.
Yeah.
And obviously we know over time we can build muscle that will gain a bit of weight. But also you can tell by visual effects from that client, maybe something's not quite right. So you have to put these tools and habits at the beginning to get people to understand. And over time, what people need to understand, that they'll suddenly find that they don't have to do all the nitty-gritty bits. The habits come naturally. They don't have to put all the foods down. They know what... They'll be able to visualize food a lot better and have a bit better understanding about it, because they know what they need for their goal, specifically if it's for weight loss or muscle gain, or just maintaining what they want at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, you know, putting a plan together and helping people with the health habits and that, and get them going is definitely a way forward for people, and it will keep them accountability with it. And that's something I'm trying to push to a lot of people at the time.
Yeah.
What's been your personal biggest career in fitness, or not? It doesn't have to necessarily be career, but your biggest fitness goal that you've achieved in your life?
My biggest goal that I've achieved in my life. I think my number one has to be my weight loss journey, hasn't it? I think to an extent. I think that there's two that obviously crop up in mind. I think number one, definitely in losing all the weight that I had and getting down to from 18 down to 11 stone. I think that, and the fact I did that on my own for over 2 years, I think that's definitely up there. I think more so than just from a physical point of view, but I look back and I think about my mindset and how big that had an impact on my mindset before and after. And I always say, I have spoken about a previous podcast that I did on my channel about being the no man. And when previously to being bigger, I was like in a shell, I was confined, very enclosed individual, very shy, and just very withdrawn. And then when I lost the weight, how it completely flipped the coin and changed me into being the yes man, and being open, motivated, positive, open to new aspects of life. So I think that probably has to be my number one, indefinitely. Number two, maybe competing that men's physique show that I did. That getting on stage and getting to a body fat percentage that I got to was a hell of an achievement. I don't think something I could ever thought I could have done, and took a lot of discipline and principles away from that experience. But yeah, that's probably my. I know you asked for one. I gave you two.
No. Well, the two big ones. It's a journey, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Of course it is.
Losing that weight to stepping on stage, which it takes a lot of effort in that, because on stepping on stage, like you said, you've got to produce your low. To obviously show the definition that you've got in your muscles, you've got to bring your fat percent down. So you've gone from being basically 7 stone overweight to getting yourself in a position that you're lean, you've got a 6-pack, and you can show your muscles off on stage, which is, it's a massive commitment. I always say, you talk to people about the 6-pack being the holy grail. It just shows how much commitment you have to do and dedication to get to that specific point. So no, obviously I saw the back end of that journey, especially when you went to the stage and all that.
Yeah.
How well you did with that and how focused you can get for that. So I probably will say, is that the proudest moment of your life to achieve that? Or is it other things? Not anything to do with fitness on this question. What is the proudest moment of your life?
Proudest moment of my life. It's a big question. Proudest moment of my life. I don't know. I think proudest moment of my life, I think it's probably it's quite deep, but probably I think the proudest moment of my life has to be being in a position to be able to, obviously my mum passed away recently, but being in a position to give her independence and joy as long as what I could until the end of her life. I think and being in a position to do that, I think was definitely one of my happiest and to an extent proudest parts of my life. I think probably second from that, I think definitely getting on stage, and feeling like I was in a position to compete against other people on stage, being in the condition that I was in when I did my men's physique show, and just feeling like I belong up there. But I think for me was a massively high achievement. Two different contrasts there.
It shows what kind of trainer you are, Alan. You're. I've always said that, and obviously the clients that we work with, even to this day now, still say about you, you're a very caring person, and you've done it. You've proven you've done it, and you can help other people by doing it, and you're doing really well with it.
I appreciate that. No, thank you, mate.
Like I say, I miss not working with you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You were a great trainer. One of the best ones I've ever had, probably the best. So. Yeah, I mean that's a really good quality that you have. That you are a caring person, and you're a bit like myself. You take it personally with that client, and you really want to help him. And even if it's not a relative, you always bring that across to people. And have you got any regrets in your life?
Regrets.
Yeah.
I think there's a list.
We'll have a list.
Yeah. But no, talking professionally speaking, I think if anything in my life, I think my biggest regret was probably just not getting into fitness sooner. Yeah. I think for me, the fact that I didn't, obviously as well as leaving Verity Fitness, obviously as well as being, I think 21, 22, when I dropped weight and had such an impact on my life, I think not getting into that sooner and wasting years of my life being enclosed in 4 walls and being in front of a computer because of how out of touch of life I was and how insecure I was. I think if I could change anything, I just wish I'd got into the boom sooner. But I think it's a polar opposite. I think there's good things and bad things to take away from that. I think within life, everything happens for a reason to some extent, and that very much shows us to who we are today. The things that we went through in life has made us who we are and what we are right now.
100%, yeah. I mean, it's an open-ended question, that one, and the fact is, like, the big thing about life is making mistakes, and they're not mistakes; they're just learning curves.
Yeah, 100%.
And you learn from them, and you become better, and you move forward in that. So, yeah, it's one of them. Oh, don't ask that question to me, Fitt. No.
Well, when you go on the other way around,
I'm
interviewing you.
I'll that one
at you, mate.
No, but like I say, if what you're saying is you regret that you wish you'd have done that, it's probably made you the person that you are now. Like I said before, you're a good guy and you're really good at what you do and stuff like that. So
I appreciate that.
There are no regrets there. And where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? That's a big question. Yeah. I'd like to be. I think I'd like to be performing better, more so online is what I'm doing. I think we spoke the other week about what type of coaches we are, and you said about being more so of a hybrid coach. I still like doing like a couple of one-to-ones. I am more online based now. I do a lot of online content and things, but I also I'd love to have my own studio. And I'd also love to be a bit of a motivational speaker as well. Getting more into, I was going so fitness, health, and wellness. I'd love to get into schools. And obviously, I think I spoke about a few weeks ago about us being in an obesity pandemic. And I think it'd be good to give back a little into like schools and doing some motivational speaking and speeches to really hit home and push through more so about fitness, wellness, how important it is that we're looking after ourselves, our health and well-being, that we're not turning into couch potatoes, and really pushing that philosophy into the big wide world. So yeah, I think that's my current direction.
I can imagine that happening, to be fair, Alan. You're constantly on it. You're constantly putting the content out there. We all know, on the online training scheme for me is pretty brand new for me, really. I've always been an in-house trainer, but I know where the industry's going and stuff. And, we're in a position now where we can do things like this, where we can reach out to a wider audience and that. And I think most people I hope to think that most people in this industry are thinking in the same ways that you think. You want to get out there and help and reach as many people as you possibly can. And obviously you've had your own personal journey, and you can maybe help people that have been in your position to get them to where they are. And
I think that's the main thing I think about. I think about to when I was thinking about this the other day. I think it was when I was between the ages of 16 and 19. I think to myself, sometimes you get that enclosed in your own mindset and in such a rut that you don't even know what to do or who to ask for, or to ask for help and guidance. I mean, things were different when we were younger. There wasn't as much of the content there is out there now, but it's just a massive positive. There's so much information out there now through social media, through the internet, through YouTube and things. But even with that, sometimes you get so enclosed and such a recluse in yourself that sometimes you don't know what to do. You don't know who to ask for help. And I just think to myself, back when I was that age, when I needed that help, wouldn't it have been great if there's something out there, like the platform that we're doing now, that gave that information, that knowledge, that value. So, someone can make a massive, lifestyle change and improve their life tenfold.
Yeah. It's just, like I say, it's just trying to find ways that you can connect with people that have gone through that. It's like for me now personally, if I'm going to do online training, I'll do my videos and my social, even though I don't feel like I'm getting my points across quite right at the moment, because it's a little bit new to me. But what I want to be aiming is people about in my position now. I'm in my 40s now. I've got children. Obviously, I've got the studio business to run and stuff like that, and how life can get busy and stuff. And I always want to show people that even in my situation, like going back to the previous topic that we were talking about before about training. I mean, I only train weights 3 times a week. Obviously, before we came on here, we talked about my basketball. I obviously play basketball once a week. And the only reason I stick to them for, look, I'm fit enough to probably train twice a day, not all the time maybe, but what certain days I could do. But I know how difficult it is when you've got kids and you've got the commitment of the kids and taking them to school and taking them to drama lessons or whatever they might be participating in. My wife has a business, so obviously I've got to consider her in my lifestyle and that. And it's just finding ways that you can still get the exercise and still look after yourself and your family in that, and helping people that I'm going through, how I cope through life, to get it to them. Because I think a lot of people, once they do have kids or they have a job or career in that, what they tend to do is they tend to neglect themselves. And my message to them people is to say, look, don't neglect yourself. Get yourself on a plan. Get training, eating. And I always say to people, it doesn't necessarily have to be the gym. It's like I'm doing a podcast tomorrow with a friend, Natalie, who's a yoga instructor, because everyone will find different ways to exercise and that. Mm-hmm. I'm a massive one on, which I'm sure you are, on weight training. Mm-hmm. The benefits you get from weight training is just amazing. I'll probably knock it out in some social posts. I'm sure you will do the same thing, helping muscle and density as we age. Obviously will decrease, so we want to maintain that as much as we can by weight training. Bone density, testosterone, obviously. Even things I've read into, things like Alzheimer's, dementia. It's one of the things that we can do naturally. I mean, the benefits are massive. And I was saying to a client today, as much as I love playing basketball, I love playing basketball more than I'll ever do a weight training session. But for some reason, my lifestyle came to a stage I had to make a choice. I'll do weights more for the longevity of it. Yeah. Me personally, because of the benefits you get from it. Yeah. But yeah, I think, like I say, your journey that you've been through, where you've been overweight and you've lost that weight, and again, like you said, you stayed in the house a lot, maybe gaming and stuff like that. That now that you're out and about, you're vibrant, and it's trying to get maybe people in that kind of position, or people that are not being as active as they should be. You're the man. You've done it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, you can show it.
It's true. That's true. Yeah.
I think people should always come off what they've done in life. There's no point preaching to someone about something that they're not going through.
No, it's true. It's true. Life is full of experience, isn't it? So if you can use that experience to coach other people, it's important. And as you said, about fitness and movement, obviously, it's going to be something that you enjoy doing. Yeah. I think if you hate weight training to your bones, you can't get yourself into the gym, then maybe going yoga, maybe going other direction could be more beneficial for you. But it's the way of life, isn't it? It's trying to get the 360 degree of bits of everything that can improve your life. A bit of weight training, a bit of cardio through your basketball, a bit of yoga and Pilates for stretching. Yeah. Well, trying to get all these things together as one. In
an ideal world, do you want to be able to do everything really? In an ideal world, you want to be able to do weights. You want to be able, weights. It could be any kind of resistance type of training. You want to play that kind of sport that you like, that you enjoy, that competitiveness, and then you want to find something. It's like yoga. It will be interesting speaking to that tomorrow, because I know yoga will be quite good for me because I'm quite a hyperactive person. I'm always on the go and that.
Yeah. And
personally, I do suffer with things like anxiety and stuff like that. I always know yoga will be really, really good for me, because it'll help me relax. But personally, I know my own thing. I don't stretch enough, so I should do. Especially as I get older, I do wake up in the morning, I'm stiff, from training or anything like that. Yeah. So you can find all different benefits in that. So, right, I think we'll wrap it up there.
Super duper.
Right. So, where can people come across you and find you?
So, as Christian said at the start, Coachedbyalan is my name that goes on all social media. So on Facebook and more so on Instagram at Coachedbyalan, and then a podcast as well is also on Instagram, the Fit for Life podcast. I'll be getting Christian on here and there very soon. For an opposite way, I'll be interviewing him. I'm putting him on the in the limelight.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but that's pretty much all the platforms there.
Yeah, brilliant, excellent. Right, well, I've enjoyed this catch up, and always a pleasure seeing you, Alan.
Yeah, no, good to catch up. Thank you for having me, Christian.
No worries, mate. You take care.
You too, mate. See you soon.
Yeah.